to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall, Psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast. I hope wherever you are in this amazing planet of ours, you had a happy Halloween. Here in Australia, it's not really super big yet. It's growing by the year, and it's one of my favourite times of the year because I just think it's so exciting. You know, the little ones get to go out and dress up and have fun and go trick-or-treating and, you know, just be kiddos. Isn't that a wonderful thing? But for many other people, it's a very sad time of the year because it's a time of the year where it really reminds us of the people that we've lost. And I used to teach my students, it's like everybody that we've lost, we can collectively put them into one group. And this is sort of like their birthday, their Christmas, their Easter, their anniversaries of their passing, all rolled into one. Because the veil is at its thinnest during the time of Halloween. And I always look at it as being 48 hours of the veil being at the thinnest, where we can really feel the closest connection to those that we've lost, the people that have passed over. It is a celebration of the dead. It is a celebration of sort of, you know, that life does go on and that we can have, you know, still have some fun. We can still have some belief systems in the things that are really important to us as well. So it's a time that, you know, we still have another 24 hours of Halloween past the point of midnight on the 31st, when the clock strikes midnight and we move into the 1st of November 1, we still have another 24 hours. So it's when the clock strikes midnight on November 2 is officially, in my opinion, the end of Halloween. So this week, the card of the week, the Simply Tarot card of the week, is the Strength card. It's the card of inner strength, of confrontation within yourself or other people. Now, what I mean by this is you have the strength to be able to sort out or to deal with any problems that may be in your life. So it's a time there where we may find that there may be some confronting issues or some issues that we need to talk about or discuss with other people. It may just be looking at yourself and saying to yourself, look, it's time to make some changes. You know, it really is time to pick up your game here or look for a new job or whatever the case may be. It is a card of great strength. And then you can see the young lady there is just patting the line. She's not really feeling uncomfortable. So it's a time where we can feel very, very comfortable in ourselves and start to look for sort of new ways, I think, to resolve the issues that may be in our lives. So it is interesting because many of us are feeling as if we have been in a confrontational situation for such a long time now. This will symbolise this sort of the end of it, of things coming to a completion phase. So we move on to the astrology section of the week. And before we do that, I want to remind our viewers again that Simply Tarot's 17th birthday is on Halloween. So Simply Tarot Set now is 17 years old around the world, and I couldn't be more proud of our accomplishments with the deck going worldwide and being a huge hit and helping many, many people get into the wonderful world of tarot. So the astrology section now, we're in the Scorpio time of the year, and I know a lot of people sort of say to me, well, I always feel uncomfortable with that time of the year. And I know it's a time when all of a sudden it becomes very, very real that Christmas is around the corner and the year's nearly finishing, and what have we achieved and what have we done? Well, I think it's important that we have those little reflection moments in our lives because it's, you know, we can't always be on a high and we can't always be on a low. We've got to have, you know, peaks and troughs. That's what makes the world go round, and it also makes us appreciate the good times. So with the sun in Scorpio, the sun is holding hands or conjunct Venus, the planet of love and affection, which is where we find the things that bring us great pleasure in our chart, in our lives. So with Venus here conjuncting or holding hands with the sun, it's the time of our lives, if you are seeking a new relationship, you may find that the relationship may be more intense. You may attract somebody that's a little bit more mature, a little bit more subdued, or somebody that's just got a deeper outlook on life, not somebody that's flippant and frivolous and just wants to be a good time Charlie. So if you're not in the market for a very serious grown-up sort of relationship, then maybe hang off looking for that new love connection at the moment. We also have Venus conjunct or holding hands, what's known as the moon's south node. So this is where we're hopefully aspiring from, not what we're hoping to achieve. It's where we're coming from. Now, when I see a conjunction like this between these three planets at this time in this energy, it says to me that we need to be aware that we don't necessarily need to become maudlin. just because it's in the Scorpio energy and it can be intense and it can be asking us to duck under the covers and look under the rock and look in the hidden places for answers, it's not asking us to give in to negative or destructive types of emotions. It's not the time to pick an argument with somebody just for the sake of it, or to have your say if you're going to become aggressive or angry. It's the time to sort of, work with those emotions, work with this intense energy and understand yourself better. It's a time where we can get some great revelations. Some people say to me they find it difficult to sleep under these configurations, that their mind is racing and it's like the emptying out of thoughts and thought patterns that might be very old, and it's like, I can't switch my mind off. If that's the case, get up, have a cup of warm milk, go for a walk, listen to some music, watch a bit of telly. Sometimes I think we've just got to change the direction of where our mind's going and, get it to focus on something else. Get it to focus on a silly old sitcom. That quite often will make you, relax enough that you can fall asleep. We have the moon also conjunct or holding hands Saturn in Aquarius. So the moon is the emotional planet. Luckily for us, the moon moves very, very quickly and only stays in a sign for 2.5 days. So it moves past conjunctions and difficult situations very quickly. And I'm saying difficult here because emotionally we don't like to feel restricted. Emotionally we don't like being told what to do or how to think or how to feel or what we should be thinking or feeling. So, conjuncting or holding hands here with Saturn can be a little bit uncomfortable in that way, because Saturn is asking us to grow up and be a grown up and look at things more in a functional sort of manner. And the moon says, I don't want to. I just want to sort of have a bit of fun. I want to sort of think outside the square and be a little bit daring and play around with my emotions. And Saturn saying, no, you're going to be more responsible. So it can be a little bit of a tug of war for the next 24 hours. We also have another conjunction this week. We have Neptune conjunct Jupiter. Now, Neptune is the planet of the illusion or delusion, or the planet of creativity. And I like to think of it more as creative. It's where our creative juices come from. It's where the mystical side of ourselves comes from. Anything that's creative, whether it's music or whether it's painting or whether it's creating a website, anything that gives you pleasure, that you have to spend some sort of time where it's not so much a chore. Now, with it conjunct Jupiter, Jupiter is the planet of expansion and opportunity. Jupiter will only be in Pisces a little bit of time now, another few days, and then it'll move back into Aries, where it's currently should be sitting, but because it's retrograde at the moment, it will be sort of, slipping back into Pisces just momentarily. So let's not waste this opportunity that we can sort of really expand out our creative areas of our life. And that applies to each and every one of us, not just if you're a Pisces. So it's a time where we can sort of really sort of try and get some of those projects off the ground that we've been putting off for a little while. This week has been the week of conjunctions, where what that means is the planets are holding hands or very tightly sitting next to each other within a matter of degrees out of an astrology chart. And an astrology chart is 360 degrees, exactly what's in a circle. So it means that these are intense energies. These are energies that we can't ignore. We can't say that they're not affecting us. They will affect each and every one of us in a slightly different way. But we need to work through these energies, because this is what's going to give us that next sort of leap ahead forward, that we've got to sometimes confront not always difficult things, but look at things and say, okay, it's urgent now, it needs our attention, we can't put this off any longer, we do need to be sort of moving forward. So our final conjunction this week is the North Node is actually what we're aspiring to achieve, is conjunct or holding hands with Uranus, the planet of the unusual, the unexpected. It gives us the breakthroughs. It's sitting in Taurus. So we may just find that we have some breakthroughs in some of the areas of our lives that we've found, we've been a little bit stuck recently, maybe moving forward with our new plans, or maybe moving forward with a major family project. It might be finally, we've got all the pieces together for that family move or that change in direction that we were hoping for. And we are able to sort of move forward now in a positive sort of way. And it could come very quickly. It's a time when we've done the time of, ducking under the covers and looking at ourselves. The opposite side of that is, out of that can come some brand new opportunities, some exciting new adventures on the horizons, opportunities that we might only be in the very early planning stages and might not come to fruition until next year, but we can see the opportunities that are ahead of us now. And that's a good thing, because it's been a very difficult, 2.5 years since the pandemic started. And I know a lot of people have been through loads and loads of changes, and lots of people are still feeling a little bit battle fatigued from it. Even though the world is slowly starting to get back to quote normal or pre-pandemic times, many of us are still feeling a little bit hesitant, a little bit reticent about what's actually happened. What did we learn during this, besides the fact that we were all locked up at home? And we need to sort of just keep moving forward, because it is a really important time in our lives that we need to keep moving forward. And I know that many of my clients around the world have said to me, I learnt so much. I learnt so much about myself. I learnt so much about the things that were important to me and my family. And my priorities have changed during these last, 2.5, 3 years, that I never thought I would, that all of a sudden chasing the almighty dollar situation or monetary situation hasn't always been necessarily the most important thing in my life anymore. My health, my happiness, spending time with my loved ones, living somewhere that I'm really comfortable with, being able to catch up with family and friends as often as I would like to is the really important thing. And things now are starting to sort of move forward. So it's a really good time in our lives, I feel, for us to be able to really put ourselves at the top of the tree and sort of really focus on what we need as individuals, but more importantly, what we need for our own immediate family, and what's going to be our new rules, our new regulations, the guidelines that we're going to use in our lives moving forward. So it's really important that, we honour this and we move forward in a way that we've never been able to move forward before, because we've all learnt the lessons that Pluto, the planet of transformation, has been trying to teach us over the last 10 or 12 years. And we're coming to the sort of the final couple of degrees of Pluto sitting in Capricorn, which will be there till 2024. But this is when we sort of get the culminations of the lessons that we've learnt, the things that we've tried to implement, the things that we've tried to change, will be starting to sort of bear fruit now. And it's a really exciting time to be going in towards the end of the year and looking at what we've achieved in 2022 and what we hope to achieve in 23 and 24, and looking at how we've changed, how our family structures changed, how our friendships have changed, and the things that have become so much more important to us. Here in Australia yesterday we had what's known as the Melbourne Cup. It's our biggest horse race of the year, where everybody goes into party mode and finds a way of backing a horse that they know nothing about, and everybody parties on. And that always symbolises to me, once the Melbourne Cup is over here in Australia, to me, I'm in Christmas mode. So today's the first day of Christmas as far as I'm concerned, because it's that time of the year where I really find I come alive. I love Christmas. I know you've got Thanksgiving coming up in the US, but here in Australia, to me, today's the official first day of let's put the Christmas decorations up and let's start partying. We're going to talk with Nancy now in Venice in Florida. Are you there, Nancy?
Hello.
Hi, Nancy. Do you have a question I can answer for you, sweetie?
Yes, I would like to know what if I will ever find another love in my life. My husband passed a year and a half ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Nancy. That's always a sad time in our lives, and a time of readjustment, isn't it? Like losing somebody that you've loved so deeply, and then all of a sudden you've got to sort of move on with your life as a single person again, is a big adjustment. So I really do feel for you. Nancy, I do feel that you're not going to be on your own forever. I do feel that you are healed enough now that, you'll never forget your husband and you'll never stop loving him, but you know that he's not coming back, and you're ready to open your heart up to the potential of new love. It's interesting because I'm feeling as if there's going to be somebody from your past crossing your path again, and it may not necessarily have been somebody that you had a love connection with previously, but it is somebody that is familiar to you, that there's going to be a connection there. And I don't think it's going to come through social media, or I think it's just going to come through a random thing, like you've gone down to do some shopping one day and you actually bump into somebody you haven't seen in 20 or 30 years and you go and have a cup of coffee and one thing leads to another and you get chatting and you find that you're both on your own now through, losing your respective partners through death. And it's like, well, we should keep in touch and we should grab lunch one day and things like that. And it starts from that. It's not an instant, oh my goodness, I'm glad I ran into him. He's been the love of my life for 30 years. It's nothing like that. It's just this reconnection of somebody that you used to know. And you sort of, you start out as just being sort of friends and sort of comparing notes and occasionally having a bite to eat together or seeing a movie together. And I think it will blossom into love. And I think that's really nice, Nancy, because the two of you respect the fact that you still have a special place in your heart for your previous partners and you don't expect each other to let go of that. But you also understand that there's still some down days ahead of you. There's still days where it's fresh like it happened yesterday. And that's the normal part of grieving as well. Nancy, have you made some conscious choices to make some changes where you're living since your husband passed? Are you still living in the same place?
Yes, I'm still living in the same place, but I had left to go back to New York, back to my hometown for 4 months during the summer.
Right. Yeah, I just sort of feel as if there's question marks around whether or not this is where you're going to stay long term.
Wow.
I don't think it's a decision that's got to be made this week or anything, but it's just sort of, it keeps coming up around you, Nancy.
Oh, my goodness. I was thinking about moving back to New York, but decided against it.
Yeah, okay. You might have decided against it for now, and maybe that's not where you're going to be going to. But I just know that where you are now, to me, as much as you're settled there, I'm just going to say to you, be aware that there may still be change in the air. And it's not as if your late husband would be upset with you if you decided to move on or, go to New York or do something different with your life. You would have his blessing. The last thing he would want is to have you tied to something like a shrine to him and your life together. He sort of keeps showing me that he's portable like a suitcase. You can pick him up, the memories that you shared together, and take them anywhere in the world. You don't need to be there. So I'm not saying that you're definitely going to move. I'm just going to say to you, they kept showing me this question mark about, is this where I'm going to stay or am I going to do something different? And it was sort of like it wasn't decided yet. And I think that's sort of probably a nice way. So your husband is not sort of saying much. He's just got a nice smile on his face and he keeps giving me this beautiful, ginormous, big pink heart to give to you. So I think that's his way of letting you know he's still around you. He still loves you, but he wants to see you smile again. He wants to see you out having some fun. I don't want to see you shutting yourself off from the world. That's really important to him, that you get on with living. You're such a vibrant soul and he wants to see you, making the most of every single day, Nancy.
Yes, I've been trying. It's very hard.
Yeah, it's hard. Of course, it's very hard, sweetie. I do know that. I was widowed many, many years ago myself, and people say to me, oh, you just got to get over it. Well, there's no such thing as getting over it. It's, you find a comfortable spot, I suppose, that you park those memories, but you never, ever truly forget them. But, we aren't designed, I believe, to walk around in ones, Nancy. I think we need to sort of really look at, you reinventing yourself and moving forward. It's a really interesting time of the year because so many people are missing people that they've lost, that, not just through the pandemic, but just normal threads of life that make it difficult for us to understand how we can actually sort of rebuild our lives and move forward again after we've had such tragedy. And I know that there's many people around the world that are experiencing that now at the moment. We're going to speak with Louise in Bradford in England. Are you there, Louise?
Hello.
Hi, Louise. Do you have a question I can answer for you, sweetie?
Question. Does my mum have any messages for me?
Okay, Louise. Look, the first thing that they're sharing with me from the other side for you, Louise, is that you need to sort of start looking at what it is that you want to achieve, what you want to bring in, what you want to change in your life at the moment. It's like you've almost been sitting in a holding pattern now for some time where you're sort of saying to yourself, I want change, I want things to improve, I want things to move forward, and yet you don't know where to start or how to go about it. And I think what we've got to do is look at it in a much smaller context instead of looking at the whole big picture and say, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do about this. Let's try and break it up into more manageable pieces. You're a very strong person, Louise. You've had a lot of things to contend with, particularly in the last 3 or 4 years. And this has left you what I would term as a little bit soul tired. It's like I get out of bed of a morning and I already feel like I've run a marathon and I just don't know whether I've got enough strength or enough even, ideas to sort of move things forward. So let's try and work on some small things to begin with, things that we can control, things that we can change, and then move on to the bigger issues in your life as time progresses. Instead of trying to do it all in one go or looking at it and becoming overwhelmed with it, if we take it into small bite-sized pieces, we'll be able to move forward. Louise, has there been some really big changes around the family in the last couple of years too, that you've had to sort of be there and support everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel as if you've had to be the strength for everyone else as well. And it's like I want to sort of take it back to Louise now and say, look, you need all your strength, all your energy for you. It's now your turn. We've got to put your life in the number one position. I know 2023 is going to be a lot easier than, even 2021 and 22 were for you. And I'm pleased to say that because I'm seeing sort of more energy. I'm seeing your health improving. I'm seeing just generally I can exhale that, life is becoming much easier to contend with than what it was. And I do feel that you will know love, and I do feel that your life is going to move forward now, and that's a good thing. I don't feel uncomfortable with what I'm seeing. It's just that it's been so difficult for you to be able to sort of even to begin to try and become positive, because every time that you started to get a little bit of a go on in your life, it's sort of like another bigger, better rock fell on your head and you're sort of like, I feel flattened again. I feel as if I'm tired and, I don't know how I'm going to keep going. But those days are just about over, Louise. You need to just keep positive, sweetheart.
Yeah, will do. Thank you.
Okay, that's where we're going to leave Louise now. We've had an interesting show with some wonderful callers, and it's, as I said at the beginning of the show, it can be a very difficult time of the year with all the fun and frivolity of what Halloween brings. It also brings a time of sadness for a lot of other people that they realise now that they're missing so many different family members and people that were important in their lives, and all of a sudden it's sort of like some people sort of say to me, I really feel them close to me at that time when the veil is at its thinnest, and that's not uncommon. Other people sort of say I get incredibly sad, and other people just want to party on and go trick-or-treating. And whatever you did on Halloween and whatever way that you celebrate Halloween or how you look at this special time of the year, that's the most important thing, is to be true to yourself, to do what you want to do. I want to leave you with a very special song this week, and it's a song that's an oldie but a goodie, and it really has nothing at all to do with Halloween, but I think it more has to do with love and how we deal with our emotions and how we see things as being important to us. And it's a very old song called Without You by Harry Nilsson. I hope you enjoy that. Until next week, bye for now.